This episode is brought to you by our friends at Brooks Blooms, your all-in-one landscaping solution.
Brooks Bloom's three-step landscaping experience offers a seamless journey from design to construction and ongoing care, ensuring your outdoor space thrives year-round.
Visit brooksblooms.com today to embark on your landscaping journey, where every step is a step towards a vibrant and beautiful outdoor entertaining space.
This podcast is presented by Tab. Best time in sport with the best app in sport. G'day everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Ads and Dunks podcast. And as always, joining me on the line on the other end is my best mate, Adzi Treloar. How you going, Adzi?
Thanks, mate. Thanks for the intro. Going well. Yep, going well. Just enjoyed some of Paul's protein. You know, the Paul's brand protein. Hopefully they listen out. I love a bit of Paul's brand. They got the milk flavors and the yogurt and the pudding flavors. So I just had a bit of that, mate. As we're about to start the potty. How you going?
Like that. You were actually telling me how to do it. So you're saying you've got to put a biscuit, your favorite biscuit in there, mix it in and then eat it.
Well, yeah. So if you've got a bit of a sweet tooth, but you want to stay, somewhat pretty good. And this is big time now for me because I used to be someone who watched everything that he ate. But now I've kind of chilled out a little bit. So for me, get your two favorite. I reckon I learned on the go a little bit. Certainly did. And again, if you're going to say it's you, yeah, you're a massive part of that. But again, as I always say to our listeners, I wasn't genetically blessed like this bloke. He can not lift the weight. He can not lift the weight. Cannot lift the weight and do whatever he wants and look the exact same. So if I don't lift the weight and I eat whatever I want, I blow out. So anyway, get your two favorite biscuits. Put it in the microwave with a dash of butter, a little bit of butter, microwave it, and then put the Paul's pudding flavor on top, the chocolate or the vanilla. I went with the vanilla, mix it in, delicious.
Beautiful. Well, there you go. Make sure if anyone wants to have one of those yogurts or whatever it is to follow that trend by Adzi. But no, I'm all good, mate. Going well. It's been another solid week for us. We go to Geelong tomorrow, so heading down a bit earlier just because it's a bit of a big trip for us, to get on the plane, go 2.5 hours to Melbourne and then get on the bus and drive to Geelong. So club decided that we'll go a day earlier, spend a bit of time together and, hopefully go down there and get a W.
Yeah, well, hopefully that is the case. We'll obviously touch on the games and the games that went by on the weekend for both of us. But how was your week anyway? Outside of playing footy.
Yep.
Anything exciting happened?
Good.
I know you probably would have played a round of golf.
I did play golf on Sunday. So I actually had lessons and I reckon I talked about that last week on here. But the first time I played after lessons, mate, absolutely horrendous. Felt like I wanted to quit straight away. But the second time, I've started to see some improvement. So for me, it's all about my grip. And when I did my lesson, my grip was really open and now it's closed over the top. So I don't reckon I've smoked a drive as good as what I did the other day. So that's positive, mate. But there's still a few shots in there that I need to sort out.
That is a positive, and I'll tell you what, I am really, really excited to see you in action. When I do eventually get to see you play a bit of golf, I cannot wait to see. Not that I've ever seen you play. I don't think I have ever seen you play. So I don't really know what my expectation is. But for you to be saying you're getting lessons and whatnot, I'm really excited. I can't wait. Can't wait to see.
Yeah, well, when you come up, like I said last time, you need to come with me to a lesson because I think it's beneficial. We need to get somewhat good, mate. We can't just be going out there, red raw. We need to make sure that we're good enough.
Yeah, I just need a little bit of patience within myself because I know if I don't nail it, I'll get super frustrated. But as you said, I will do that. Excuse me, Georgie, for what it's worth, everyone. Georgie's sitting here in the background. I'm home by myself tonight, so she's been as quiet as possible. So good girl, Georgie. Anything else? Anything else from your week you want to touch on, or you just want nothing?
Nah, there was one other thing that I got during the week, and it was a new sauna. So I'm pumped.
Oh yes,
I had my sauna in Melbourne, and my mum and dad have actually taken that sauna to the farm. So got a new one up here and got it delivered. I think it was Friday. So
Yes.
yeah, the new Sunlight and Sauna, mate. It's absolutely loving it. I love a sauna.
Yes, you were someone who loved and swore by saunas, so it is a big deal you getting your sauna. Surely they looked after you. I gave you a nice little deal.
Oh, mate, it was a little deal, but I still paid for it. And yeah, they're great people. Gabby there, she's always looked after me. Looked after me with the first one and looked after me for this one. So still, yeah, love the saunas and love what they do to. It's interesting actually because Dad's been talking to me about what he's been doing down south, and obviously it's a lot colder down there than it is up here. But he never really got in saunas. He's never been in one before. But since he's had, well, Mum and Dad have had our one that we had in Melbourne at the farm, they have loved it, and Dad reckons he's never felt any better than what he feels right now. So it must be doing something.
No, mate. Well, I certainly, and you know this, you know, I'm a huge believer in saunas and anything that you consistently do that may potentially make you feel better, even if it's that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5% better, whatever it may be. Like it's so beneficial. So right now, there's a big, I'd say like trend in people using saunas and people using infrared beds and going to those cryo chambers and whatnot. So I like it, mate. What are you going to do when it comes, late spring, early summer when it's absolutely stinking hot in Queensland? You don't even need to worry about a sauna.
I'll still get in it, but it probably won't be as regularly as what I'm getting in it now because it is a little bit crispy here overnight. So it's nice to be able to get in there and warm up. I actually find it easier to get in the pool after a sauna now because it's actually really cold out pool.
That is a beauty. We have that here as well. I'm doing this thing every day where, and Riley knows this. If he was Riley Sanders, that is, for those who don't know that he still lives with me. But I wake up every morning, obviously, and I jump into my pool at home. And my pool is solar heated, so as you can imagine in Melbourne, we're getting to a nice. Yeah. So why I quickly look at my weather. So we're getting lows of 9, 8. 8, 7, 7, 8. That's all in the next week, which is really exciting. But what I've been doing is, I don't know where you stand with cold therapy, but basically over my career, right? I used to hear all about it when I first got drafted. So I was someone who was in ice bars and cold therapy, if you want to call it, 2, 3, 4 times a day. I got to probably about 2 or 3 years ago, and probably longer. Probably when I actually got to the Bulldogs, I kind of stopped doing it because I felt like there wasn't anything beneficial for me. The only time I feel like it's super beneficial is if obviously you got a corky, if you've swollen, if you like rolled your ankle or whatever, something traumatic to the spot where there's a lot of blood that's going to that particular part of your body. I believe in it. But in general, I wasn't someone who was like, I need to do this religiously. So I kind of stopped doing it. Anyway, reason why I'm saying that, Joshy boy, is because I've said every single day to myself when I wake up, as soon as I get up, I run straight to the pool. So today, for instance, it was about 5 degrees, jump straight in the pool for about 30 to a minute, and then I get out and go straight into a hot shower. So I've been trying to do that in my day every day. What do you think about, like, what's actually your thoughts on cold therapy? I'd love to know.
Now, I've always been a big believer in contrast therapy. And that is like, hot and cold, but I can't stand in cold for too long. Like I'll be in the cold and I'll be out within 30 seconds, I'm going to say. So I feel like, and the mentality around it shifted, I think, in terms of sports medicine and what people are thinking, like physios and that these days. Like our club is really big on heat. So if you do your hammy or a soft tissue, we're not going to now ice that. We're actually going to heat it because it speeds up the recovery process. But I see the benefits in, like you said, a corky or a sprained ankle. But when it comes to soft tissue, apparently it's all about heat now. So it makes it interesting to think that, heat is really beneficial for you. And it's obviously not nice to be in the cold pools every now and then. So less cold, more heat. Beautiful for us.
No, you are right. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a challenge. I don't know how cold it is in Brisbane at the moment as soon as you wake up. But please, for the next week, every time you wake up for the next week, go jump in the pool. See how you feel.
All right. I'll tell you what our overnight low is up here at the moment. It's pretty cold. Hang on. I'm just having a look. Overnight lows at the moment is 11 degrees, mate. So
still
it's still pretty cold.
It is cold. And your pool's
So-
solar heated, right? So yours, it'll be a nice 11 degrees in the morning.
Nah, my pool's not heated at all, so it'll be 11 degrees. It'll be the
okay.
cold temperatures.
Okay. Well, I'm challenging you, my friend. Please jump in the pool every morning for the next week. See how you feel.
All right, I'll jump in there tomorrow morning. I will be freezing. I should video it.
Yeah, please video because our listeners will love that.
All right.
I'll give you a little bit of update on my week, actually. The only update that is of significance for me is my under 17 and a half boys had another great win. We had a great win on Sunday. We're now playing Montrose this week on Sunday, the top of the table clash. So we're first, they're second at the moment. And unfortunately, but fortunately, I'm actually going to miss it because our game's on Sunday. So it'll be the first game that I miss this year. But I cannot wait to hear how the boys go. I might try and get one of Belly or maybe Elliot or someone who can quickly have their phone on the bench so I can find out what the scores are because the game's going to be on at the same time I'm playing. But the boys are going well. Looking forward to seeing how we go this week.
Mate, that's huge. You obviously have taken them from, I don't know, like a team that was getting smashed essentially at the start of the year to now top of the table. Like that's unreal.
Well, yeah, I mean, so the first 4 games, I said this right. So the first 4 games were grading against obviously the better sides. And the very last game of that grading game, we played Knox, I think it was. And they're a good side. They're a really good side up in A grade. And we had a shot to go in front with about 10 minutes to go in the game. So it had shown how far we'd come in the span of, 5 weeks, really. So me and my other coaches, we really pushed hard to be able to stay in that A grade, which only has 7 teams up there. These are really good teams. Like Rowville, for instance, they've got 6, I think, NAB Talent League players who are obviously really good tack up players. So, mate, we'd come a long way. Petitioned really, really hard, but they didn't allow it, obviously. So we went down to B grade, but there's some really good sides in there. Really, really good sides. So it's been nice, mate. It's been fun. As I said to you, we're doing some team building stuff throughout the weeks. When I get them, yesterday I did a big, that Kahoot, the Kahoot app where you do the quiz.
Yep.
Yeah. So obviously, as the coaches, us coaches are trying to teach them along the way, we're trying to teach them terminologies, but simple terminologies that will help them transition to the senior level. And it just goes to show how much they're listening. So 20 questions on Kahoot. And it was basically everyone. It was one of the best nights. The winner, I promised the winner a brand new pair of Nike boots. So Noah, my boy Noah won. He won right at the end. I'd almost call it a Stephen Bradbury. He came all the way right at the end, hit the lead with 1 question to go, and then the very last question was a ripper. But it's been really good, mate. I'm really enjoying it.
That's awesome, mate. It's an absolute credit to you and your fellow coaches. I know you're obviously really close and you're doing a great job. But we'll move on to our segments of the week, mate. So we'll get into our Brooks Bloom of the week. We missed that last week. We didn't do it as early, but I want you to go into yours straight away.
Okay, mine's gonna be because I just think we're not gonna have the chance to call it next week, really, because the series is gonna be over. But my Brooks Bloom of the week, I'm going early, is the Oklahoma City Thunder. So my Bloom, I did say I think Oklahoma will win in 6. As I've watched Oklahoma progress, people have got to understand, right? And I talk about my love for the NFL and I love the NBA. My first team that I ever followed, so I say this openly because I'm not going to say that I'm a bandwagoner and I'm not a passionate Oklahoma fan like I should be, but my first team that I followed outside of AFL was Oklahoma, and it was because of Kevin Durant. So I was a full-on Oklahoma diehard tragic, and broke my heart when we lost those. We lost to Miami in the finals. We lost to San Antonio Spurs the next year in the conference final. We lost to the Golden State Warriors when we were up 3-1 in the conference final. And then Kevin Durant got traded to Golden State. So that kind of was, my Oklahoma era was over. As I've watched them this series, there's a bit of that in me where I'm like, I'm actually really proud that they're home. I'm calling it now. They are home. They'll win the next game. And they are home. And I'm making them my early Brooks Bloom of the week.
Okay, we'll hopefully that doesn't go south for you.
It will not go south.
Game 6 is on, what is it, Tuesday? So it'll be
2
Friday?
days.
Thursday.
Yeah, 3 days. Yeah, Friday. Friday.
Friday.
Thursday.
So-
Yes.
Thursday. So that'll be an interesting watch. Hopefully it's good and you look like
I
an
hope.
absolute genius, mate. But my Brooks Bloom of the week this week, and I don't know if you know anything to do with this, but as I've been getting into my golf, I've been watching golf and I've followed the US Open. Did you watch any of the US
Oh.
Open, mate?
Sure did, mate. I got a lot of teammates that love the golf. So, yes, I did.
So my Brooks Bloom of the week is JJ Spawn because, mate, did you see any of his last round?
Sure did, mate. Sure did.
So he was one of
Unbelievable
one of the leaders, right, going into the last round of the US Open. Massive occasion, nearly gave up. I'm fairly sure 12 months before, and he's out there and he's leading the US Open. He starts the day with 5 out of the first 5 of 6 holes he bogeyed. So he's all of a sudden 5 shots over par in that last round of 18. And mate, to come back and in the pouring rain at times, like to win that with a 20 meter, whatever it was, 25 meter putt was just unbelievable. So he's my Brooks Bloom of the week this week.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to lie. I'm not, obviously, I'm not a golf fan, but I actually, because that was obviously getting played everywhere in the footy club, and I was asking all the boys about the story and exactly what you just said, mate. It obviously didn't look promising to start, but for him to win and that putt that I seen him make, I coincidentally was watching that one. I was like, there's no way he makes this. Unbelievable. Like, unbelievable. So I like it, mate. It's a good Brooks Bloom of the week.
Yeah, it was pretty cool to see some of the players, like they were doing interviews at the time and live reactions to the putt because they're obviously sitting back watching the screen, and then they see the putt and hear the crowd and they're like, wow, that's insane.
Yeah, that was insane. I'm going to do my segment now because, geez, I almost forgot that. And now I've got some ripper would you rathers. I knew I'd screen grab these for a reason. Mate, these are unreal. Okay. Joshy, would you rather smell like feet or smell like eggs?
Oh. What kind of eggs are we talking?
Oh, it's a good point. I'm going to say hard-boiled eggs because they seem to smell the most.
Oh, I'm probably smelling like feet because that's just something that you've already got on your body, so you might as well smell like it.
Okay, I'm going to ask 2 more. For the rest of your life, right? You can only hear one of these 2 songs. You can never listen to any other song. If another song comes on, you just can't hear it. You either have to choose between Baby by Justin Bieber.
Yep.
Or Love Story by Taylor Swift.
Love Story by Taylor Swift.
Why is that? Why not Baby?
Nah, Baby just gets on my nerves. I don't know. It's just that constant, Baby. You can sing it for us, can't you?
I know you love me. No, I'm not singing that. Oh, I got one more. All right, ready? This is a good one. Would you rather get a paper cut every time you turn a page or bite your tongue every time you eat?
Paper cut every time you turn a page. Well, what if you don't turn any pages?
Well, come on. There's a time where you'll read a book, or there's a time you're not Brado.
Well,
you're Joshy.
I'm taking paper cuts because there's not many times I sit there and turn pages, so I'll take that. I definitely eat more than I turn pages.
True. All right, that's all I got for you, mate.
All right, well, we'll move on to our other segment and we'll put our little microphone heads on, Adzi. Get into our Tab tip / same game multi of the week, and thanks to Tab for all their support as always. Last week, mate, you got it correct. You got me. You're one up.
I did. It wasn't that hard though, so obviously I tipped the favourite, War Machine, but who did look unbelievable.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch the race because we were obviously playing at the same time, but I did watch the replay after, and mate, I actually thought Rothfire was a chance when I was watching the replay into that straight and tried to follow War Machine and couldn't keep up. It was just an absolute on another level, I guess you could say.
Yeah, Tim Clark. I think Tim Clark was the one who was on War Machine. He's had an unbelievable season.
No, it's good. So this week we're going to go to the State of Origin. That's on tomorrow night. So as we talk, it's obviously Tuesday. So tomorrow night is Wednesday night, which is when this will drop. So we're going to give everyone a bit of a same game multi for that one. Adzi, what are your thoughts on Origin, mate? You like it?
I do. We've never really spoken about Origin on the podcast, but we're huge Origin fans, obviously. I'm a Queenslander. You're obviously a Queenslander. Melbourne Storm boys, majority of them play for Queensland, hence why I've always gone for them. But what I'm liking, unfortunately, I think New South Wales are going to win. History doesn't stand on the Queenslander side. There's been 2 games over in WA. This is just a bit of a history lesson for you, Josh. But New South Wales won 44-12, 2022. And in 2019, their other game, they won 38-6. So hasn't been overly nice for Queensland over in WA. So this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking New South Wales with a 6.5, so the line. Over 40 points scored, so 40.5 points. And 2 try scorers. I'm going Latrell Mitchell, obviously for New South, and I'm going the Hammer for Queensland.
Don't mind it. There you go. You heard it here first. But one other thing I want to mention too is Big Munster. He's the captain of Queensland for this game, and we all know and love money. Got any words on him, mate, that you want to say on the podcast?
I've obviously been a huge fan of Cam for a very, very long time. He's a Melbourne Storm great, and being a Melbourne Storm fan, being able to watch him shine at all levels of the NRL. And I just think it speaks volumes for his maturity and how far he's come. And he often gets portrayed as a bit of a larrikin and a bit of a jokester, which is great to see. But for him to be able to captain, Queensland Maroons, which arguably is one of the biggest responsibilities on the Australian sporting calendar because it's one of the 2 State of Origin teams. Again, it just speaks huge volumes of him as a character and how much he's grown and the respect and admiration that he has from his teammates in Queenslander. So cannot wait to see how he goes about it. I feel like he's going to have an enormous game.
Yeah, I'm really excited too, and congrats to Money. It's a great achievement, as you said, and we all know and love the character that he brings to the game, and not only to the game but off field as well. Around us, and he's really embraced all sports in Australia. So all the best to both teams tomorrow night, and I'll just read out that same game multi again. So we've got the Hammer to score a try, Latrell Mitchell to score a try, over 40.5 points, and New South Wales minus 6.5 at the line. So give that one a go. Hopefully it gets up like you did last week, Adsy, and we have a good time. But always gamble responsibly.
That's it, mate. I do want to give a shout out because we haven't done it. We did it last year. Is the 167 podcast, which is the podcast that obviously Money, Ryan Pappenhausen, and Jerome Hughes obviously run, which is a great listen. So make sure you go over and have a listen. They're a funny trio, those 3.
What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.
All right, moving on. We will get stuck into our games this week. Adsy, you want to start off with yours on Thursday night?
So we obviously played the Sainers. We played them earlier this year, so we kind of knew what to expect in what their strengths are, and I certainly feel like outside of the first quarter, really, we were able to dominate, most of the game, and it's pleasing that we were able to kick away in the end. But it's just off the back of what was a really poor performance against Hawthorn, we felt like a lot of areas in that game against the Hawks, we could have been better in terms of ball use and what we were doing with ball in hand. So for us to be able to put 132 up and score in good manner, some great turnovers led to scores, some defensive half ball movements led to score, which was great, which was what we hadn't been able to do against the Hawks the previous week. So very pleasing we're able to get the job done.
Yeah, it was an impressive watch, I must say. One thing I noticed, mate, I don't know if you've noticed this out on the field, but the footy at the start of, so you've played the last 2 Thursday nights, the footy's bounced in the middle of the ground. The paint is still wet in the middle of the ground. The footy, I don't know if Brado can get some vision of this, but I wrote this down as your game was on because I was like, footy is full of paint at start of the game last 2 weeks. Have you noticed that? Like at the start of the game?
I actually haven't. No,
mate,
it's not one
It
bit.
is genuinely like fully red. And I can't remember who had a shot. Sinclair, I reckon, had a shot at the start of the game, and he's like touching the ball. And the week before, I think it was Ginnivan, and the ball was just slippery because it's got all the spray paint on it.
Right. Oh, you know what? I might observe it this week. Oh, we play on the Sunday. So are you saying it's the Thursday night thing?
Well, I don't know if it's Marvel Stadium or it's Thursday night,
Okay.
but just see if you can pay attention to the footy at the start of the game. Like the next time you play at Marvel, which is this week, just watch out for the footy. It's genuinely, I've been blown away.
All right. I will, mate. I'll do that for you, I think. No worries.
Amongst all the other things you're thinking about on the ground, mate. No, the other one that I wanted to talk about was we actually had one of our fans send in a question about what it's like to play against your old teammates. And there was vision of Libba and Nader at the first centre bounce. Do you want to go into, I don't know, from your perspective? Obviously, you've been through it and you've played against your old team and played against, some of your mates from other teams. But what's that like coming up against someone that's been a part of the club for so long? And do you have a bit of tongue in cheek, or what do you do?
Well, I think for Nader's case, it's obviously a bit different than mine. I'd left first when I left the Giants, that was off my own doing. And then obviously Collingwood wasn't off my own doing. So they're a bit unique situations. So for Nader, I think considering he played 249 games. He was one game shy of 250 for the Western Bulldogs. Clearly a legend of our footy club. He, all Australian, didn't win a BNF, which is still crazy to think because Bont was winning them all. I mean, it is hard to beat Bont in the BNF, but it's just the champion of our footy club. So it would be a little bit unique for him, and whether he thinks about that as well, because it would be weird for him. And Libba and Nader, in particular, towards the end of the last 2 years, grew really, really close. Like he is, for anyone that knows Nader, he's got a funny sense of humor and, bounce off each other a little bit. And it was cool to see that. And you mentioned the vision. I seen that vision as well. And I actually had a laugh because I don't know what was said, but I could imagine some of the funny stuff that they would have said to each other that I probably can't repeat on the podcast. But so from his perspective, it's a little bit hard, but it is weird. It's very weird. I mean, you go from living and breathing basically footy with these guys to versing them. So it feels like they know all your ins and out and whatnot. So it's very, very weird. And no doubt you probably have the same experience.
I remember the first time I played against you boys after coming to Brisbane. It felt like training. Like it feels like preseason training and you're playing against each other and you're looking up the field and you're seeing guys coming at you that you've seen so many times at training. And it genuinely it felt like that to me. But once you get settled in, it's obviously a game of football and you don't really put names to faces. You're just playing. So it is a bit daunting coming into it, but I've always found it, very interesting and similar to a training kind of feel.
Yeah, I agree. I always felt like it was hard because I reckon it took me probably 2 games, probably my third game, to actually play good against my old side. And that was maybe there's something in that. Maybe there's something mentally in that, because my first game against the Giants, I didn't play well. My second game against the Giants, I didn't play well. It wasn't really till my third game where I felt comfortable. And then I look at the Collingwood side, mate. In my first game ever for the Western Bulldogs was against Collingwood, and it's arguably one of my worst games I've ever played for the Western Bulldogs. I was horrendous. And then it wasn't till the next game I wasn't any good. It was the third game where it was at Marvel and started to play a little bit better. So whether there's something in that, I don't know, but it is weird.
Yeah, it's always an interesting watch. But we'll move on to our game. So we were Saturday afternoon, and I mean the Giants without Toby Green came up here and showed us the team that we always thought they were, and they have been in the past. And not that we took them for granted. We certainly didn't do that. It was more just the heat that they brought around the contest, and their ball movement, mate, when they can get up and running, is very, very hard to stop. So it was a bit disappointing to, we kicked a lot of behinds on the day. They kicked very straight. I think they were 8-0 at halftime, which is unheard of these days. So to allow them to still be in the game probably gets their backs up, and they still think that they're a chance. And unfortunately, they ran over the top of us. So it was a little bit disappointing in the end where they didn't get the win. But at the same time, you've almost got to look at creating all these opportunities we are. And at the end of games, we're running them out really well and finishing off well. We just can't kick goals. So fingers crossed we can, kick a bit straighter in the coming weeks, and hopefully that holds us in good stead.
Yeah, it was a frustrating watch if you're a Brisbane fan. Obviously, it looked like very similar to the game against Adelaide. Was it who'd you lose? Adelaide, yes. Where you're creating all these opportunities, you just couldn't score. But give credit where credit's due. Obviously, you mentioned their running power, and a guy that I'll mention a bit later in my Bloom and Dunk Law votes. But they had two pretty powerful forwards as well who dominated, to be quite honest. I mean, it didn't help that one of your defenders, Jack Payne, went down, which best wishes go out to Payne. But, it looked like a tough game. It looked like their running power, like you mentioned, Finn Callahan was massive in for them. His power through his legs are unbelievable. It's almost as probably the best in the league, up there with Nick Dacos, in my opinion. I feel like he runs really hard and he's hard to stop. You throw in Lockie Ash and Lockie Whitfield, there's no reason why they're so good. How do you move on? I mean, obviously, I think the 6-day turnaround kind of helps you, refocus in, because it just doesn't get any easier for you boys. I mean, you're playing probably the informed team of the competition in Geelong. You obviously then have a bye. You then play Port Adelaide, who are going well. Not that you're looking at that, obviously. You got to start with Geelong this week. Like, how do you move on, I guess, so quickly from the game?
Yeah, it's a good question. And I've actually had a fair few people message in about what I said last week about, missing out on opportunities, and that's sort of cost us the game. But the way that we sort of look at things is from that point of view. And you can't really move on unless you paint a really clear picture of what's actually happened. And something that I've learnt from Fags and playing underneath Fags is he's so good at, he's good at seeing positives in the game, but he knows that, like, he expects every individual to go to work on their own game with their assistant coaches, with the players around them. So it's really self-driven. And I think that's why our group has been able to have sustained success for a long period of time. It's not success, but being up the top side of the ladder, because the ability to learn on the go and continue to go to work and, be challenged at times and put your hand up and say, I wasn't good enough. But Fags' ability to pull all that together and, I don't know, look at the positives and say, look, boys, if we had a kick straight, we probably would have won this game. And at the end of the day, that's sort of what happens. And you can go after a loss and go, oh, I remember that contest. I remember that contest. I remember this time when you should have hit that player. But, mate, the game is so easy when you're watching it back on vision. And we all know that.
Yep.
So for Fags to be able to bring everyone back together, show us the basics, yes, we should have connected here and there, but at the same time, we created 33 shots at goal on the weekend that we kicked, I don't know, it's 50% or something. So that side of it wasn't good enough, and we'll continue to go to work on it. And as individuals, we'll get better.
Yeah, it's a great answer. That is a great answer. I mean, if you don't have any more of an insight than that, then I don't know what you would, because it's a good answer. And the challenge gets no easier for you guys this week, playing against Geelong, as I said, who are probably the informed team of the comp. Many are saying they're the premiership favourites with Collingwood. So it'll be a great challenge for you.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, mate. I wanted to talk about, before we move on from this week, and sort of going down the similar track to what I was just talking about, but I haven't told you this pre-podcast, but I want you to tell us about how hard you think professional sport is these days mentally for athletes, right? Given feedback comes from all different angles. And if you think about it, you've got your coaches, you've got your internal feedback that you obviously respect and all that kind of stuff. But then you go into media, you go into family, you go into friends, you go into every single person telling you, trying to paint a picture of what's going on inside the four walls. How do you deal with that as an individual player?
How long do I have, mate? It is
hard. Do you find it hard?
Yeah. Extremely hard. Extremely hard, especially here in Melbourne. I know, I know you have your challenges as well up interstate. And that is probably a challenge within itself, being away from family and whatnot, but it is hard. And, it is something that the mental side of things has come a long way in terms of the seminars and the seeing psychologists and doing things that help your mental side, because as you said, mate, you're living with the challenges of coach feedback, player feedback, your friends saying stuff to you, media saying stuff, the general person down the street. I'm doing under 17 coaching, which I thoroughly enjoy, and I've spoken about how much I love it. But, it's hard for parents not to talk to me about footy. And when I go and shake the opposition players' hands and coaches' hands, they're all shaking my hand. And, after we've lost to Hawthorn a week ago, there's a smart ass remark by a parent or a smart ass remark by, it's stuff that you just got to deal with. And at the end of the day, we're human beings, and sometimes it is really hard. And for someone like me who's so proud and so passionate, and I love football and I love what it's provided me, but when people, are being smart-assy towards me or whatever it may be, it's hard for me. And you know this because you know me better than anybody. Mate, I want to bite back and be like, what are you talking like? But I can't because of the profile and the athlete that I am. So I guess to answer your question, it is very hard. It is very hard. And I guess when you retire, and hopefully I don't have to make that decision for a while, but I know, and I hear this often from people who have retired, that you tend to look back on the times that were really hard and the times that you really struggled more than the times that you had success or were enjoying yourself. And that is sadly the unfortunate reality, because if I think back to my own career, things that spring to mind straight away are the times that I really struggled, and the times where I wanted to retire, the times where I needed to have a mental break, the times where I was like, I don't want to play footy anymore because people are judging me for my footballing ability rather than getting to know me or know me as the person, or understand that, I go out of my way to coach under 17. I go out of my way to coach kids and the youths coming through. I openly do things weekly where I go give feedback to young kids that want to make as a professional athlete, and people don't see that side. So I guess that's kind of a long-winded answer, but it's hard. It is a hard thing to do, being an elite athlete.
I feel like that's something that, I don't know, just it's funny. Like you walk down the street, you said like the guy down the street, he'll say something to you that you don't even think about, right? But because he said it to you, it's on your mind and you're thinking about it. And everyone can say that they don't listen to the noise. I don't read the media and whatnot, but at some point it will find its way back to you, whatever's in the media.
Definitely.
So all this stuff that goes on, like players cannot hide from it. And it is very, very hard to deal with.
Oh, mate, it is. It is. And I'd be lying if I said that I don't avoid, walking into crowds, or if I'm at a shop, walking somewhere where I know there might be a group of young adults or a group of teenagers who know me, and they're going to walk past, and 90% of the time people are great and they want to say g'day, but there's 10% of the time where people are smartasses. And I cop that, I would cop that once a week. And I'm not saying this would be a large majority of players who play here in Melbourne. I can only imagine what those guys would cop, and guys like Bailey Smith, or, when Dustin Martin was in his prime. Like, there's times where you just refuse to go to the shop if there has been a good win, because someone's going to say something to you. And, the amount of stuff that there's the amount of times people say to me, like, oh, why'd you leave Collingwood? What a stupid decision that was. It's crazy. Why'd you leave Collingwood? What a stupid decision that was. And I'm like, it wasn't my choice. Basically is what I say. It wasn't my choice.
Yeah.
Without elaborating into it. So, like, people don't have, a lot of times they've got no idea what they're talking about. So, it certainly has its challenges.
No, it's just an interesting topic I wanted to bring up with you, mate, because I feel like it's inevitable. Like, that's just what happens, and we are professional sports people, so we do, that's part of the job, and we do have to get used to it. But it is a very hard one to deal with when you consider all the outliers that contribute to what an individual player might be thinking.
Yep. No, I'm with you. And this is all sports. This is obviously not just AFL. This is all elite sportsmen out there. They would all go through the same. I can only imagine, even from a like a world sport level how hard that would be. So, very fortunate and grateful to do what I do. I wouldn't have the life that I have if it wasn't for AFL. But yeah, it certainly has its challenges.
Yeah, it's why I really feel like team sports are so hard to continue to evolve and be the best at, because you've got so many different factors. But anyway, we'll move on to the other games this week. Was there anything else that caught your eye this week in the games that were played?
No, I think the only 2 points for me is Geelong just reaffirmed to me and even to you saying that they were one of the premiership teams to beat at the start of the year. They just reaffirmed it to me. They're playing some unbelievable footy, led by obviously Jeremy Cameron, but they're two midfielders in Baz and Max Holmes. I mean, they're arguably two of the best midfielders in the comp. That stood out. And obviously the Hawthorn Adelaide game, I thought it was a ripping game Friday night. I loved it. I know it wasn't high scoring at all, which can be quite boring to watch, but I just thought it was a really good game. Two quality sides with two good defensive units. And respectfully to Adelaide, they haven't always been spoken about in that regard. And I just felt like, yeah, they were on song. I know they didn't win the game. They did not win the game, but they were right into the end, and it was a great game of footy.
Yeah, it was. I watched a fair bit of that too and thought it was an arm wrestle all game. Adelaide was pretty stiff to probably not get the win in the end, but it was, a great game to watch. Given the conditions down there, looked a bit cold down there in Tassie.
Oh, mate, it looked freaking crazy cold, Tassie. Looked very cold.
That's why the new stadium needs a roof, mate. That's what they're saying.
Well, I hope so. And all this, I hope it all gets underway. All this stuff about, have you seen all the passionate pleas about all the Tasmanian locals and some of the ex-Tasmanian sportsmen? Like, it'd just be a shame if it didn't go ahead. So hopefully that all gets sorted soon. Yeah,
fingers crossed. I feel like it would be an unbelievable thing for the game of AFL and to continue to evolve like we want to, not only as players but as an industry, really. And I feel like it's a massive step in the right direction. It'd be shattering if it didn't go ahead. But we'll get on to our Bloom and Dunklor Award, Adzi.
Let's do
What do you got this week? 3, 2, 1.
Obviously some stiff players that miss out. But my 3, I've got a player from the Friday night game, Jarman Impey. I just feel like he gets my 1 vote. So I feel like he is fair to say probably underrated. I reckon he does a lot of team things within the game that really stand out, and they stood out to me. In particular in the last quarter, I felt like he had an enormous last quarter, Jarman Impey. So he gets my 1 vote. My teammate, who has been all Australian conversation, and it's not Ed Richards, who, again, in my personal opinion, Josh, is leading the Brownlow medal, Ed Richards.
Really?
But he's not my 2 vote getter. My 2 vote getter is Rory Lobb. I just, again, being out there playing, when someone, and I know you would know this with some of your players for sure, every time the ball goes in his vicinity, it's almost like I'm running the other way. Like I'm transitioning back defensively. As soon as the ball's in the air and I see Lobby's there, I'm going back the other way because I just know he's going to do something with it. So I just thought he was enormous, and he saved us so many times. 1-on-1, I thought he was huge, so I gave him 2 votes. And my 3 goes to Giants forward. And it isn't Jesse Hogan, who I thought was huge. I'm giving it to Aaron Cadman. Yeah, I just feel like he was enormous, mate. I feel like, unfortunately for you, mate, he was, one of 2 to 3. That was the difference in the end. And I love the fact that for his sake, he was able to do it against a quality team, against you boys, and play a really good game of footy. There's people saying that this is how they talk about the legacy game where, it's a breakout game for a player. He just looked incredible. Looked so good. So he's my 3 votes.
Yep, I like it. He was my 2. So I'll reiterate everything you just said. He was pretty impressive to watch. We've watched his journey so far, and as a player, he's continued to show us glimpses. But mate, on the weekend, he was unstoppable. He didn't drop a mark, I don't think, and the way he kicks the ball, so similar to Jeremy Cameron. Like, it's insane.
It's crazy.
I'm sitting there watching, and I'm thinking, this is just a young Jeremy Cameron. So if he's half the player that Jezza is, I'm sure he's going to be a very,
Oh.
very good player for a long period of time. So he got my 2. My 1 vote was another player from your team who you didn't mention, but it was Bailey Williams.
I knew you were
I thought
about to
he
say
had
that.
I thought he had a ripping game, mate. Like, I can't remember how many he had. A lot of. I feel like he had a lot of
17 marks.
17 marks. Did he? There you go.
Yep.
Yeah, 17 marks, and I don't know how many of those were intercept marks, but I just felt like he was a brick wall. Him and Lobby at the same time. They were both very good, but Big Truck got my 1 vote, and my 3 votes went to Mitch Georgiades. A couple of goal kickers this week,
Yes.
mate. So
Yes.
Mitch Georgiades he kicked 7 goals, 4, had 10 marks. So 13 score involvements as well. And I thought he played a pivotal role in the Port win over the D's.
I agree. He was good. And it's good to see, who came back without missing a beat? Jason Horne-Francis. Jeez, he makes a huge difference for Port Adelaide. Makes a enormous difference for him. He's a match winner, certainly.
I like it. All right. We'll move on to this week's games. Let's go through them.
do it.
Adsy?
Yep, I'll do it. So there's 4 buys: Adelaide, Hawthorn, Melbourne, the Eagles. They're not playing. But we'll start with Thursday. So Freo play the Bombers over in WA. What are you thinking?
Oh, I think the Dockers will be too good. Thought they played pretty well against a very desperate North Melbourne last week. That was actually a ripping game of footy. So they'll be a bit battered and bruised after that one, but I feel like they'll get the job done there against the Bombers.
I'm with you. Bombers obviously need a bounce back. They'd be extremely disappointed with their game. It was nice to see 2 mid-season draftees debut. It's always cool to see the week after. Mentioned Tom McCarthy plays for the Eagles, who played his first game, most disposals on debut ever by an Eagle, and actually the first player this year for the Eagles to have over 30, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, I'm with you, mate. I think Freo will be too good. Your game, we'll touch on that, is on Friday. Saturday, 1:20, Carlton, North Melbourne. At where's this at? The MCG. Who are you thinking?
Yeah, I think the Blues here. I think it'll be a close game. I don't think it's going to be as one-sided as they think, because I really do respect North and what they've been doing with their style of footy and the players that they've got there now. So I think it'll be close, but I think the Blues will come out on top.
Yeah, I'm with you, mate. I think North will really take it up to him. They're playing with a good amount of confidence. It's good to see. But yeah, Carlton obviously need to keep winning, and I think Carlton. Adelaide Oval, 4:15, Port Adelaide versus Sydney. Big game for these two.
This is a good game. I feel like Sydney really need to win this, but
They do.
Port Adelaide have had a couple of strong weeks. They had the D's last week, and I'm fairly sure they had the Giants the week before. So they've had a couple of strong wins over the last 2 weeks, and they're in some form. And as you said, a few players are back, so I think they'll get the job done at home against the Swans.
I'm with you, mate. We're in agreement with all this. Port Adelaide for me. Marvel Stadium, Saturday night, Collingwood St Kilda. This is a good game because St Kilda tend to bounce back every time they have obviously a really tough loss, and they obviously lost to us. I do obviously can't tip against Collingwood, but who are you thinking?
Yeah, I know you'll go Collingwood, but I'm going to say, I don't know if I want to do it. Nah, I think it'll be closer than what people think too. I'll tip Collingwood because I feel like they'll win, but I reckon there could be a bit of a momentum swing in this game. I reckon the Saints might start really well, and then Collingwood will peg them back.
Marcus Windhager, who I seen up close, has had quietly a really, really good. He's done some incredible jobs, and he did a great job on Bont on the weekend. So it's going to be very intriguing. Obviously, we all probably are presuming he goes to Nick Dacos, so that's going to be interesting. But I'm with you, mate. I think Collingwood will be too good. I cannot tip against them, but I reckon it'll be a great game. Sunday games, we play one of them. The other game is the Giants v the Gold Coast Suns, NG Stadium. Huge game. This is an enormous game.
Massive game. Giants coming off a win up here. Toby Green will probably play. I reckon that they'll challenge the Suns. After, I think they had a bye last week, didn't they, the Suns? Yep, they had a bye. So I'll tip the Giants. They got some momentum after the win against us. And yeah, I feel like if they can continue to play the way that they did against us with their transition game and, the ability to run and cover the ground and, another week in the likes of Finn Callahan's fitness and that kind of thing, they'll really take it up to Gold Coast and I reckon they'll win.
I wonder if I go with my GWS Giants analogy at the moment, just because, mate, what did I say? They go win, loss, win, loss, win, loss.
Yeah.
And they did it again. So going off that, they lose this week, but I'm not tipping against them. I think the Giants, that win against you boys is a big confidence booster for them. So I'm going the Giants at home. And then our games. So your game first. Friday night, GMHBA. I think they're going pretty cool. Is it Penn State? I think they're getting the motivation from Penn State, White Knight, which is going to be sick to be a part of. So I hope you enjoy that and soak all that in because it's going to be really cool. But yeah, obviously you got Geelong Friday night. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, mate, I saw that last night, and it's actually one of my bucket list items is to go to Penn State White Knight. So, mate, it's coming to me. So how good's that? I'll get to see it down in Geelong on Friday night. But yeah, we are. We're really keen for this game. It's a great challenge, as you said. They're arguably the most informed team in the competition. I think they are the ones to beat, as I said at the start of the year. So, yeah, it's going to be a matchup. Obviously different down there in Geelong with the ground dimensions and what it's like. But, yeah, another opportunity where we can bounce back and hopefully kick straight and get us back into some winning form.
Mate, it's a huge game. It really, really is. I mean, every week's enormous. You guys obviously off the back of two really tough losses. No one's going to tip you, let's be honest. I think everyone's going to be tipping Geelong in Geelong. I mean, that's probably an exciting prospect because you go in as the underdogs. But is there a little bit of that quiet confidence where it's like, look, boys, no one's tipping us. Let's go in and just release the shackles. Let's go and just give it a red hot crack against a team who, as you said, mate, premiership, rightfully so, premiership favourites.
Yeah, I think that and definitely the element of, last year we talked about how everyone wrote us off but we knew internally that we were actually going okay. Sort of goes back to what we were talking about before. The external noise can say whatever they want, but internally we know that we've had way more shots at goal than our opposition in the last 2 weeks. So if we can bring that footy, we should be able to play well against a team like Geelong, even given that they are performing and winning a lot of games of footy currently. So we're excited, mate. We cannot wait to get down there we're heading tomorrow, as I said earlier in the potty, but cannot wait to get down there for Friday night's matchup and give it a red hot crack.
It will be exciting, mate. One other one. What do you do? What do you do to stop Max Holmes and Baz? Two of the most electric midfielders in the competition.
Yeah, well, you would know, mate, like being a part of the system and looking at Geelong when you scout their opposition, they do so many different tricks with their players. Like Baz will he'll be starting on a wing and then he'll go and sit inside and Holmes will go from inside to a deep sweeper or whatever it is. Like they just try and throw magnets around left, right and centre. So you can't really get, I don't know, I feel like you can't really get caught up too much in what they're doing other than playing to your structure and, taking it up to them with what you guys or what we bring. You know what I mean? Like it's a very interesting dynamic and they're probably the only team in the comp that do so many tricks. So it's going to be a challenge, but to answer your question, I don't know. We just got to play footy and we got to win the ball. That's what, the best form of defense is attack. And if we can win it at the contest and not allow it to get into their hands, then that's the best thing for us.
It is. And you mentioned tricks. That's not even mentioning their high half forwards like Graham Myers and Mane and these boys that get up around the ball as well, which is it's certainly a team that do play a lot of tricks. But why wouldn't you when they've got the quality they have? So good luck, mate. I'll be watching intently. Can't wait to see how this one plays out.
Yeah, thanks, mate. All right, we'll move on to your game. Sunday afternoon, the last game of the round against the Tigs at Marvel Stadium. Give us a bit of an insight into that one, mate.
Yeah, obviously another big game. Obviously, there's a lot of respect there for Richmond. They've played a lot of good footy. I mean, they've only won 3 games, but they've been in basically all their games and showcase a winning brand of footy, which they're obviously coming off the bye. But prior to the bye, they took it up to Sydney. Obviously, got probably beaten convincingly towards the end of the game, but right up until halftime, they were right in it, playing great brand of footy. And as you've touched on, I've touched on there, a lot of respect for what they're doing and where they're going. So, yeah, we've got to be on our game and we've got to start well. I said to you last week after the loss to Hawthorn, we had to start well against St Kilda and we didn't start that well. We started okay, but it's definitely something that we're looking into, wanting to start well and not waiting. We just can't be waiting and got to go in with the mindset that we're ready to go and we have to, especially against these sides that are really young and youthful and, provide a lot of energy. And Richmond certainly have that. They've got a lot of youth, through their group who bring that energy and excitement and want to play. And they're going to bring that. You then throw in like experience of obviously their midfield, very experienced. They got, Prestia, who's back, who's been enormous for him. Taranto, Hopper as well, Toby Nankervis. It's a very good, strong midfield with then Tom Lynch, who's playing forward, and and I think some experience down back as well. So we've got to be on. We've got to really be on, and we're really looking forward to this. It's been nice to have a nice. We've had a 10-day break, or we're going to end up having a 10-day break, which is really nice. So it's been a nice early week already of preparing, but yeah, we'll fine tune a little bit closer.
Yeah, still so much time between now and the game for you guys. It's going to be a great test, as you mentioned. How do you, because there's so much unpredictability in the lineup, I guess, for the Tigers, like how do you go about, you said you haven't really been touching on them yet, but how do you go about managing that? Like what's the talk in the footy club? What's it like inside the 4 walls at the Doggies when you're coming up against a team like Richmond?
Well, I think you just got to, for me personally, but you don't necessarily look at, you do to a certain degree, but you don't really look at the name more. You more look at the brand they're playing and how they're playing and what they're doing. And it doesn't really matter who's there. And that's the sign of, a really good footy club. And this is what I've touched on. They've clearly showed that regardless of who's played. So that's kind of where we looked, if you know what I'm saying. I know you know what I'm saying. But their brand of footy is great. I mean, they provide a lot of pressure, they create a lot of pressure, I should say. And, then when they do get some good turnovers, they score as well as anybody. And, that's generally what it's like for, as I said, guys that are youthful and energetic and excited and whatnot. So, that's the expectation. We're going to expect that. We're going to expect that they're going to bring the heat and they're going to bring the pressure and the contest, which they have brought. And we've just got to be able to match that. And that is obviously us starting well. We've got to start well. We've got to, jump out of the blocks, if you want to call it, and really attack them head on and then find the flow of the game. And then hopefully that then opens up for us and we can really, let our strengths shine more than theirs. But it's going to be on early. And, I know that Richmond like playing at Marvel as well. So they beat the Gold Coast there earlier this year, which was a great win for them and one of their great wins for the season. So no doubt they're going to think, they can come with that energy and give us a red hot crack.
No, it's going to be a tough game for them. It's always tough playing you boys at Marvel. So, all the best, mate. It's going to be a cracking game.
Thank you, mate. I appreciate it.
All right, we'll move on to our last segment, my curly question, before we wrap up.
Throw it to me, mate.
So, I've got 2 here. I'll ask you this one first, and I want to get Brado on to give us an answer as well. So, picture yourself, you're going into a toilet, mate, a male toilet, and you're going into the urinal, I should say.
Yep.
You know how you have the little the trough thing that you're standing there, and there's a guy on the end in the corner, then there's a gap, then there's another guy in the middle, then there's a gap, and then it's an end. Where are you picking? Where are you going to go and stand? Or are you going in the cubicle?
I'm looking in the cubicle. If the cubicle's not open, I'm not pissing.
What? Brado, what are you doing, mate?
Yeah, so if there's a person, a gap, a person, And a gap?
and a gap, and then it ends. Yep.
Yeah, so I'm picking the last gap, which is the opposite wall.
The corner.
Yeah, the opposite. That's the corner.
I'll just wait. I'll wait till there's a big gap.
Oh, no. And then, so if I walk in and I see you waiting and I'm like, what are you doing, mate? Just you go to the urinal.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, I'm waiting. And I'm like, well, I'm going in the corner. I've just alphaed you.
Yeah,
Exactly.
mate. Well, you can elf for me, smell for me, mate. I don't care. I ain't going in the. I'm waiting for the gap
Just-
to open up.
Beta Trelaw just waiting to take a pee. You got to sit down in the urinal. That's all right.
Oh, I love it.
No, what are you doing, Josh?
No, I'm taking the corner for sure. Straight
Yes.
into the corner.
I feel like I'm on a good run with these. I don't. Whoever's getting asked has always had a howler. Surely the turning the paper. You take the paper cut any day of the week. The most times I would get a paper cut is turning the menu at a restaurant. So,
See, there you go,
Which you can
Josh.
cop.
yeah.
There,
You can cop
there
that.
Go. So when you're going out to eat at a restaurant, that's where you're getting your paper cuts because you're turning, or you're biting your tongue every time you eat.
Nah, paper cuts for sure.
And I think
That one's
the meal will make you quickly forget that you paper cut your finger. But if you,
100%.
I had one
True.
for you, I got one for you. It's a quick one. Knowing that we got ads here to make a choice is going to probably blow out the podcast another 15 or so minutes. But I want you to rank. It's like a draft. You get 3 draft picks each, and it alternates. You were talking about how difficult footy is. Obviously, it has everything around the sport itself. But as athletes, you have to draft the most difficult sports in the world. So what you think is the most difficult sport in the world or to be an athlete of, we'll go at pick number 1 and then it'll go down to pick 6. So I'll give Dunks pick number 1 so then I can give ads time to think.
Yeah, I got pick 2.
Okay.
Okay, go.
Okay, so I'll go pick 1. Most difficult sports to manage, I reckon, would be, well, I'm going to say tennis.
As an athlete, you think the most difficult sport in the world is tennis.
Yeah, I reckon it would be the most difficult sport. Like you think about the 5-hour grueling matches, like the one last week, like that would be so tough. And to know that every point you've got to reset your mind mentally, like an individual sport like tennis on the pro circuit would be insane.
That's good. We're not here to change your mind, so we'll let the people decide. But over to you, Ads.
This is going to be hard. Do we got another 20 minutes on this podcast?
You got 30
Um,
seconds, mate. Come on.
I'm going to say like the Ironman, like the Ultra Ironman, or the big long events where it's just you and yourself and you're battling your demons. So what is that? What's the big one? Is it the Ironman? Is that what it is?
Yeah,
Brado?
the Iron Man, Hawaiian Iron Man.
That one. Yeah, like those things.
Marathon
that would
type
be
thing.
2 for me. Well, it's a marathon, obviously, but then there's the 180K bike ride in it, and then there's the 6K swim. You got to do all that in one.
My argument to that is you don't do it all the time, though.
Hey, no arguments here.
tennis.
This is a draft. He's taking that.
No.
Yeah, fair.
You do.
Fair.
These people make a living out of this, my friend. So do
Okay.
do not discredit these Ironmen out there. Otherwise, they're going to
All
take
right.
issue with this.
Yeah, okay.
And you can't
I'll
outrun
take
them.
that back.
Can't outswim them, and you can't outride them because they're going to get
Exactly.
Pick 3 for me is cricket, and it's like position specific in cricket. It's an opening batsman.
Easy.
Nah, not easy. Not easy. That would be one of the hardest
Well-
gigs ever.
Number 4, I'm going to say WWE superstar. No, I'm joking. I'm going to say specifically the Tour de France.
Cycling.
Yep.
Okay, pick 5. I will go golf. Talked about golf already on this potty. I've gone all individual sports, mate, because you can't rely on a team around you, which makes it harder. You've got obviously your team off the field that help you mentally, but on the course, on the court, that kind of thing, it's just you and your thoughts, and you've got to be able to move on so quickly in between points, in between shots, whatever it is. I think they're the hardest.
All right, number 6. This is hard. I want to show some love. I'm going to show some love to our great game, AFL.
AFL number 6. All right.
I'm going to say
put that
AFL
together.
because we're right. Hang on, right now we're underselling AFL because we play it. So
Yep.
we're taking it a little bit for granted right now. But you got to think of it from a physical exertion point of view. We run as far as any other major sport out there. We've got to be quick. Think about all the elite sports. We've still got to be as quick as all the other sports out there. We've got to be strong. We've got to have 360 awareness, and we've got to be able to get up and do it every week and play 24 games plus finals. And then you think about the mental side of things. So I'm giving AFL some love and saying it's there.
That'll be a very interesting list. I will say that there's a couple of glaring omissions.
Boxing.
F1's in there, but I would have to say boxing's number 1 because you have the physical, you have the mental, it's a solo, and you also could get knocked out in front of the entire world.
Hey, but hang on, Brado. I'm just going to say something.
F1's
You say
good.
glaring omissions. This is an opinion-based answer.
I'm
It's
just
not
saying what makes
this is exactly how it goes. Boxing, cycling.
Hey, and as is the AFL draft, we sit back and we critique. We sit back and we say, in 10 years' time, geez, you got number 1 pick wrong. Jeez.
All right, Brado, I've got a
Can't
question
believe
for
you took
Where
4 over 3.
Where would you put WWE?
Hey, I've seen Mick Foley get thrown off the top of the Hell in the Cell. I'll put that at number 1. Undertaker got buried alive. How do you fix that?
The open casket matches.
Yeah.
Josh is looking at us like, what the heck are you talking about?
Shane McMahon falling off the Titantron. That doesn't just that takes guts, determination. Anyway, that's all I got. We'll put that together and we'll watch you get crucified out there. It's good.
Yeah, righto.
Gymnastics.
Sounds good.
Imagine doing those flips.
Another good one. Oh, that is a good one.
All individual sports, I reckon, underrated. Swimming's another one. All right, we'll wrap it up there, Adsy. Thanks, mate. All the best this week. Look forward to seeing you soon.
You too, mate. Have a great week. This episode is brought to you by our friends at Brooks Blooms, your all-in-one landscaping solution.
Brooks Bloom's 3-step landscaping experience offers a seamless journey from design to construction and ongoing care, ensuring your outdoor space thrives year-round.
Visit brooksblooms.com today to embark on your landscaping journey, where every step is a step towards a vibrant and beautiful outdoor entertaining space.